All right. So here we are talking about casual sex with San Antonio Embracing Sexuality. I'm Janet Trevino. I'm your creator and facilitator. And the topic today is, I don't know what it's today. We are looking at the date. Let's see, the 22nd of May, 2019. So I chose this topic. I'm gonna be real vulnerable and honest with y'all. I don't know who's all gonna see this later. It's like, so I am newly single. I've chosen to move out of a committed relationship that I was in, and really sensing that a big part of what that's about for me is kind of re-entering, like fully unencumbered sexually, to discover some things about myself. And while I had that option before, I was non-monogamous. It's really different when I'm kind of having to figure it out without having a partner that was there consistently. It was fantastic. And it's just, that's not the problem. It's just more like, what happens when I don't have a consistent partner, somebody who's there? I really want to work on me. And there's so many other issues why I've made this change, but it's a significant one, and I'm wanting to throw myself into this whole world again. The sharks, in a lot of ways, especially speaking as a female. You think that I don't experience. Maybe I'm not putting myself that far out there, but you know. So anyway, so I'm gonna talk about some of the things that some of our guests here that are listening live to this have asked me to speak on, and then just kind of go through all, like, mentally. I mean, I'm just gonna do a mental list, the run through of what might be an important thing. There may be people that will join, will come on and off, and we'll just check in with them and just see. This is a recording. They won't know that we're recording, and so we need to double check with them, change their video and their name. So moving forward, casual sex in the year 2019. You think that we would be ahead, advanced, like we would be, like over our shame and our guilt and all that shit that is so much a part of our sex culture in this country, and we're not, right? And then unless we intentionally choose to teach our children differently and do sex education, comprehensive sex education, and we choose to just give people freedom to choose what to do with their bodies. And then, of course, in this new legislative world we're living in, where abortion is becoming pretty like illegal in some states. I mean, not all the way, but definitely as close as they can cut it. And then, of course, criminalized. Casual sex is not an attractive topic. I mean, on both sides. I'm going to give it to both, to all, not even both, to all people, especially in certain states. But it's a difficult one because engaging in casual sex, of course, there are consequences. And so we'll go through, pregnancy and STIs at some point. Not right now. I don't want to kill it. I'll let we get started. Don't want to kill the conversation. But definitely, the part which is not talked about in sex education, and then hope it would be part of in comprehensive sex education, would be that sex is pleasurable. And I honestly, in my opinion, sex is health. Like, we are human beings created to have sex, not just for procreation, but it is a health need, a health concern. It has health consequences if we aren't taking care of that part of the body. Just checking in with it for people that hold prostates, getting that prostate fluid kind of flowing out, like moving it around, getting out so it doesn't get inflamed or infected. Like, that's really important. And for those of us who own uteruses and all the other parts, ovaries and all those muscles, like using those muscles and having the orgasms and just bringing life into our body just with orgasms is an extremely important thing for our health, keeping things lubed up. So when we move through transitions like perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause, all of that, we move it with such grace because we're using the system and then using as much as possible. So, and then I'm just talking literally off the top of my head. So according to Susan Weed, who is an herbalist, in her book on menopause, she talks about that women should have at least 7 orgasms a week. And you can do them all in one day in one shot, or you can do them once a day. But like, it is a health concern for women transitioning at that elder age. So yes, sex. There's many different ways to get sex. Of course, you can get it within a committed relationship. You can be in a monogamous relationship. You can get it in while being in a relationship and being non-monogamous. You can be polyamorous, and those are all really great. But they are a certain level of privilege. We have couple privilege in this culture. Where if you're in a relationship, like you're given brownie points and seen as mature and healthy. Um, I always wonder, like, will we ever have a president who's single? Either female or male, or like it trans or non-binary, whatever. Like, we often don't see single people as being healthy and mature, and that's something really wrong about that. Because of course they are. Of course they can be choosing not to be in a relationship, choosing not to have children, choosing or to have many children or many relationships. All of those can be healthy options for anybody. So for those, and of course, casual sex can also happen within a relationship. You can be non-monogamous, have your one steady partner, and still decide to have casual sexual relationships with other people. And all these are awesome options. And so when I talk about casual sex, I'm not speaking only singles, even though it's convenient to talk within that realm. It's really anybody, right, who chooses to engage in sex that's in a not committed relationship. It's usually kind of can be a hit and run kind of experience, or it's someone like friends with benefits or a fuck buddy, somebody you have there, just not expected to get any kind of emotional attachment, emotional connection. I mean, you can truly love the person as a human being, but that's not the intention of that. So the intention is to enjoy each other's bodies, to enjoy your own body, to have a pleasurable sexual experience with another human being. And the point is the sex, right? The point is the pleasure. The point is the connection, that in that moment. And that's what's appreciated. And then you thank each other, and then you can separate and then live your lives. I think that sounds beautiful. And what I love about it is that it has this expectation around being in the moment, right? When we have relationships, we're in this long-term kind of situation, we often think, well, okay, well, this sex didn't go well, we'll just catch it, maybe we'll have better sex next time, and next time, and next time, and next time. And it's a perpetual, like, pushing sex off. And what's really cool about casual sex is that you give it your all. Like, this is it. Like, this may be the last time. This is that one time with this person. I do appreciate people showing up fully, and that's what it does provide. It provides this, I'm giving it like my best, and kind of showing off a little bit even. That's not bad. That's really good. Asking for what you want, right? There's a whole communication piece that's also important, which we'll get to. Or maybe I'll get to it right now. All right. Again, because I have no agenda, I'm kind of speaking off the top of my head. Let's see, making sure. Okay, cool. I'm getting some messages about people that might join in. So let's talk about communication. So I think a lot of us are really afraid, scared to communicate with potential casual sex partners about who we are sexually, what we want. We're trying to find the common denominator. And I think that's one way. It's an effective way. I think that probably for men, I'm going to project on y'all. So those men who are listening, watching now or later, go in there, put in the comments or in the chat box, whatever. Men don't want to scare women away. I get it. I totally get it. Because again, the story out there is men want sex with women women are the gatekeepers. We're just kind of holding up the gates and like, maybe we'll let you in. And men are just like storming the castle. Like, please let me in. So if that's the dynamic, then sure, men are looking for what's the common denominator. How can I find the thing that's gonna like get me through the gate, right? And so they may not display or just like share as much about what they're looking for in a sexual encounter or a sexual fuck buddy kind of situation. And and let me just, people that are listening live, if you want to say something, like speak up, just let me know, and I'd be happy to have you jump in at any point. So just like let me, I don't know if you can raise your hand or however, I don't know what the options are. Yeah, just say, hey, I have something I want to comment with what you're saying, please do. So I get it, like, and so I think that men are, not all men, but because of this dynamic we have socially that, you know, men are storming the castle, um, I think men are pretty game for a lot of things. I don't think men expect women to really come with a strong agenda, to be quite honest. I also think maybe they'd have stronger boundaries, but because it's not, they're not both storming the castle, it's a little different. The dynamic there. I, on the other hand, I'm storming the castle and I scare guys, and they don't often. I've had guys tell me no. So just so you know, I can be scary. Anyway, so what ends up happening is, then the flip side, you know, women, it's there's so much other psychological stuff that's happening. I feel like I can't speak for all women for sure. I can talk about all men, which is terrible. That's, I shouldn't do that. But anyway, that just happened. I'm not speaking for all women. I will speak myself. Like I said, I'm mostly like telling people the truth about what I'm feeling, experiencing, what I need, and I come on really strong. And it really does help men to be like, okay, am I down for that or am I not down for that? But when a woman doesn't do that, and I'm realize I'm also talking very heterosexually here, men and women, totally different dynamics. If it's two men, of course, and then two women, or two getting away from the binary. We're talking about non-binary people. So maybe I should just, I'm gonna just dump that right now. Well, I'll finish the woman comment because societally we have some bullshit issues. So while men are looking for the common denominator to storm the castle, women are often gatekeeping and keeping our no as long as we can to be seen as, you know, proper and not sluts, and we don't want to give that impression. A lot of, you know, dating sites will say like no hookups, and that's very common. You'll hear those kind of comments because of what it needs. One of our viewers right now talked about the shame that exists from his married friends and married male friends of all people, which I just laugh because, I mean, I think it's just jealousy. Or I'll say envy. I think it's just envy. But there's this shaming around like something is wrong with you. Why don't you commit? Why don't you just pick somebody? Like just settle down, be like us. And that can be a really old story that just keeps perpetuating. Again, assuming that everyone needs to be married or needs to be in a relationship, and that's what's healthy for everyone. Now, statistically, they say that men that are in a married relationship do live longer than single men, but that's just because married men have again the partner that provides this huge social network for them. Because as soon as, let's say if it's a female in this case, this is the studies that I've read, as soon as she dies, he fucking dies, right? Like that's just what it is. It's because she's basically perpetuating his life. So it's, if a single man can maintain some really good social connections and networks and all of that, then I think it can effectively keep him alive a lot longer if longevity is your issue. And getting back to casual sex. So, but anyway, gender plays a role in our society because of the stigma around women being sexual. If a woman is sexual, then again, something is wrong with her, right? If a man is sexual, then he's a stud, he's amazing, and we congratulate him, pat him on the back. Which makes casual sex between these two genders really difficult, which also makes why men having sex with men is quite an easy thing to come by. And I think that's fantastic. Like, if you're not this, maybe because I'm so fluid, I'm like, I don't understand guys. I'm like, dude, you want to fuck? Like, there are plenty of other dudes to fuck. Go fuck the other dudes. Like, you're all in the same boat. Go have fun. Like, go do those holes. I don't know. You know, I'm way too practical. I'm just like, seriously, there's like, yay. Wear a condom. That's all. And then, you know, with women, it's women and women, or I wish I could get into that scene. I have no idea how to meet other women who have sex with women. It's like a foreign world for me. But I think that's, yeah. So anyway, I'll move on from that topic. And I think I talked about the shame piece, and I'm going to go on to, well, I mentioned condoms. So STIs and casual sex, super important. Always wrap and or use barriers if you are with someone that you're not in a committed relationship with. And I don't know how specifically to go into this topic. I'll just say where we live right now in San Antonio, we have an epidemic of syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia. I mean, I think all of them. And then, of course, HIV is really high right now in our town, in our city. So please, please, there are free condoms almost anywhere. If you know to ask the right person, anywhere there's testing, there's free testing for all of these. You can get tested for Hep C, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV. Not too difficult. Please contact me if you need to know like how to access that. But for sure, go to Metro Health Clinic. There's one on East Highland Boulevard, just south of the Little Red Barn. That is where the headquarters of the STA clinic is. And the other part to that is they have a Metro bus, which is what I love. I love going to the Metro bus. Those of us who are engaging in casual sex, we get tested every 3 months. I should have been tested. Wait, I think this is my month. Oops. I gotta get tested this month. I have a question here, Brian. I'll finish the STI talk and then I get to our question. Thank you, Byron. So, getting back to STI. So yes, please get tested, especially if you choose to engage. Things happen, condoms break, barriers don't work. Now you can get STIs orally. Don't forget, like you can just say, well, we don't do, intercourse or genital penetration without condoms and stuff, but also know that you can get things orally as well. And then those are the ones I mentioned were like the big ones that we test for, but there's also HPV and there's herpes. Herpes is a stigma-based STI. It does not cause any kind of health concern. It's more just a stigma thing, and it's something to disclose to partners. It's just a nuisance. It's like a cold. It's unfortunate that we make it a big deal. That's because of pharmaceutical companies making hella money on it. But it's a thing to disclose if you do have it. And I really believe strongly in doing the safer sex elevator speech. If you don't know what that is, please Google. It's super simple. When you meet somebody, you just do the speech, which sounds like my last test. My name is, basically, I'm Janet. My last test was March. I'm being honest, I missed my March testing. I haven't been very sexually active. All right, let's go back. My last test was in January. I'm being honest. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Was in January. I need to get tested now. I want to do it every 3 months. Was in January. I tested for syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, Hep C, and I got my HPV tested in December, and I came out negative for all of those. I did have cancer. So the cancers, I did come up with HPV positive before, but now I've cleared those. So that's a good sign for me. And I have HSV1, which is oral herpes, but I don't have any kind of breakout. And I don't have, I've never had a breakout. And I don't believe I have HSV2, which is the genital herpes. So, I got my beverage, y'all. Okay. What else can I say about that? So first of all, in the Safer Sex Elevator speech, you go through kind of like when you're less, and you always speak for yourself first. So you speak about your testing. When was your last test? What you tested for? Sound knowledgeable. Don't just say, I did my test because I'm in the military once a year and everything was clear. That doesn't say anything. That says that you're not really paying attention. So if you're having sex casually, again, sound intelligent. Say like, this is what I tested for. Of course, I'm concerned about these things, letting people know that this is important to you. And then from there, after you explain, and then what have you done since your test? So like for me personally, probably, let's say, is there a number? I've had sex with probably 6 people since then. I'm really bad at numbers. But I've used barriers for all of them. Oh, except for one, which is the guy I was with. We didn't use any barriers. And for, the most part, I know that he uses barriers for any other partner that he has had. I haven't had any condoms break. And I think I've pretty much kept things well sealed. Now, people need to know that STIs also, if you have one, it doesn't mean you'll have symptoms. So just because like right now I'm asymptomatic doesn't mean I don't have something. That's why it's really important just to get tested anyway. So anyway, with the Safer Sex Elevator speech, you do your date of your last test and what you tested for and what have you done since. Because again, it could be, got tested a year ago. That doesn't tell me shit about like, then I get to decide like what's what is your level of risk? Like, how much do I want to risk being with you? After you do that, you talk about any kind of relationship agreements that you're in. So I would say, like, I'm single, so I don't have anyone that I'm accountable to. And or, you could say I'm married, or have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or whatnot. And then you can say, what your relationship agreements are. And then you talk about, and this may go to Byron's question about toys, what are my boundaries? What are my soft boundaries or hard boundaries? What I want to do tonight or today. You can discuss like what feels good, what would be awesome. And in Byron's case, he mentions the use of toys. So you can say, I have some toys that I really love using. Now, talking about toys and casual sex, this can be kind of weird. Not so much intimidating women, but to think that, oh, gross. Like, and it is. Like, so we can talk about STIs in your own genitals, but toys also carry STIs. So I am a firm, hardcore believer of always covering your toys. Even like the ones that I own and the ones that are really expensive and 100% silicone, medical grade, I still will cover them because I don't know, because condoms are free and it's just easy cleanup. Like it's just fantastic for that. So just put condoms on everything, and again, your partners can decide if that's something that they feel comfortable with or not. Some people feel like that toys carry on this like relationship mojo bullshit. So I'm gonna give you a pro tip. This is such a really, really, really tricky and like it's kind of deceptive. But it just, because I just don't believe in toys carrying any kind of relationship shit. Like if you had someone you were with and used this toy on them all the time, and now like that toy belongs to that partner, but you bought it and it belongs to you, like it's yours, but you used it. I'm like, come on, y'all. Those toys are expensive. I'm not gonna like throw away toys just because I use it with somebody. So this is, again, it's kind of deceptive, but if you ever needed this tip to like, I don't know, I'll like break the mode, like ownership, like people ownership of toys. You keep the packaging. You buy the toy, you take it out very carefully, and then if you ever need to use it again, just put it back in the bag and say, look, I bought this toy. And you've used the best. But put condoms on it. Like, so really, it's not so much, again, people that think that weird mojo thing is a thing. I don't. But I would definitely say just keep it barriered, and then also clean it. Like when even if you use a barrier, it's okay to clean it. I have toys I can like throw in the washer. You can sanitize it. There's like toy sanitizer, and it all depends, I guess, on what kind of toys you're bringing out in a casual encounter. If you bring out like a vibrator that like is for your partner's pleasure, that's kind of cool. Again, put a condom on it. Even the magic wands, those big old, actually I don't have one here next to me, but you can put condoms on those too. But again, so when let's say, I feel like I'm doing the safer sex elevator speech a little bit too long. So when you're getting into like what your boundaries are, and then sharing like what is it that you like, what is it that you want, that's when you would say, hey, I have these toys. If you're interested, I can keep them in my bag, or we can, if you want to take a look. It's kind of fun if you, again, are with somebody who also engages in casual sex. They may have a sex bag of their own, so you could do like a show and tell, like, hey, so let's look through each other's bags. How fun. Like, if I've never had a chance to do that, but I have a sex bag that I carry, and it would be so much fun, because I'd be like, so here's my pegging collection. Of course, if I have any like, anuses that have prostates, like men, but like, whatever. People that only have one hole down below, they'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, what, really? Like, you would peg me? I'd be like, fuck yeah. Why not? I'm having fun. So, but I don't get a chance to do that. Often I'm just pulling out what I need for myself, which is like a vibrator and maybe a dildo. Because I don't often, well, here's okay. So let's get into this next topic. What's the orgasmic expectation, right? Oh my gosh, there's so much pressure, and I think on both sides, unfortunately, and being part of that conversation around. Okay, so the conversation is, what are our expectations? So going back to the safer sex elevator speech, which is that, okay, what are the boundaries? What would you want? What are the expectations that are present here? And I think it's extremely important to say, like, at least for me, I'm like, I don't have to orgasm with your cock or with your hands or with your mouth. I'm really cool if we just have a lot of fun. And at some point, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, we can masturbate together. Or if they come, that's cool. But if I don't come with all of that other kind of activity, because maybe I'm distracted or because I don't know, I'm on my head, or I don't know, you're new, right? And they may feel the same way, like, gosh, there's a lot of pressure here, or I really want to impress, or, shoot, I'm ready to feel like really gassy, or like whatever it is, because there's always maybe something. It's okay to just name it. Like, can we, will it be important to you that I have an orgasm, that you have an orgasm, and get that cleared out of the way, so that, let's say, I have met plenty of cis males that have told me, I don't have to come. I mean, like, before anything happens. And I'm like, sure? And they're like, I'm good. And I think that's kind of a relief that I let it go. But I'm like, cool. Because I think I have met women who have told me that it is really important that they make the man come. Like, it's part of also their sense of worth. And I don't think that's fair. I think that each person gets to decide if they want to come or not. I don't know why they get to decide, and I think if someone says, I don't want to, or I don't want it to be the point, if it happens, it happens, but let's not try to make it happen, that's completely respectable on both sides. And I think also, again, the part we often forget in casual sex is masturbating. Like, how fun it would be to say, hey, let's have a mutual masturbation session for our first time together. Gosh, if someone actually said that to me, like, they came up with that idea, not me, I would be like, what? Who are you? Where'd you come from? I'd be so impressed. That takes such the pressure off. If you're both interested in, like, engaging, like, cool. We don't have to jump right in. I have a comment here. It says here, thanks for the people that are watching live right now. I hate when women feel like it's the end when I come. There's many other things we can do. So many other things that we can do. I don't. As I sit with that, I feel sadness as I read that. I'm gonna read it again because I think I read it a little quickly. I hate it. I hate when women feel like it's the end when I come. There's so many other things we can do. And I'll tell you, I feel sad when I hear that, because I imagine the woman just trying to get it over with. They're not happy. They're not really into it. They're just like, okay, I just can't wait to come so we can end this. Like, at some point, and then I guess this is the point that I neglected to talk about, which of course, consent. Consent to engaging, like, and there's such a finessing here. So if you're not good at reading people's body language, if you're not good at communicating, I would say casual sex is probably not a good fit for you at this time, until you can get some coaching and get some understanding around how to communicate and gain consent and wait for consent, and really check in. And also how to read nonverbals once you have consent and you believe and the person has clearly said a yes, how to read nonverbals and check in and make sure that yes is still a yes and hasn't changed to a no, with with the verbal part escaping, like not being there. So in that, when I imagine a woman feeling like, okay, it's over because the guy came, that tells me that she was done a long time ago. And I feel really sad that wasn't able to be communicated. She wasn't having the best time. But I could totally be wrong, but I got a sadness when I felt that. I remember one person that I'd been introduced by a friend, and we were at a bar, and he was cute, and I liked his energy. It was a lot of fun, and he was staying in a hotel here, and he knew what I did this kind of talking sexuality kind of stuff, and we ended up I decided to go to his hotel room, and we were having this fantastic makeout session in the lift. It was like phenomenal. It was so hot. I was so happy. It was so great. And then we got to the hotel and we walked in, and I think he needed to smoke or something. I can't even remember why we were in the balcony. And he starts telling me about his wife and his family. I'm like, oh my gosh, mistake number one. Like, why? Why are you talking about? I'm like, I think he's like looking for counseling, or I was just like, if I would have had more of myself, like if I could have been more me, I would have been like, just stop. Can we just do it already? Right? So that was already killing it. Because we had such an amazing chemistry in the car. And then once we started, he couldn't use a condom. And my friend who had sex with him, she never told me. Like, I was really upset with her. Not upset, but like just annoyed with her. Like, dude, like, did you not use a condom with him? Like, what the fuck, right? Like, so then I tried another type of condom, and then I tried an internal condom, which we can talk about in a second. And couldn't, like, the internal condom scared his cock. Like, and he had a beautiful cock. And at that moment, I should have left. Like, it was already done, and I didn't, and and within me, I thought, all right, well, I'm here. And he's like, well, would you just jack me off? And like, it goes back to our comment, the person, like, I was waiting for him just to come. I was done. And he came, and I got up and grabbed my shit and walked out the door. Like, there was no attempt on his part to do anything for me. It was terrible. So I hear you, Brian, and I'm sorry, Byron, and I'm projecting what you said on my own life. But that, I told myself I'll never do that again. Like, absolutely not. If that person who is choosing to engage in casual sex cannot use condoms, then it is absolutely not my job to finish him off. I need to just, unless you're going to pay one of my bills. Like, unless you're gonna do something like fix my plumbing, I don't know. There's got to be an exchange there. Like, fuck that shit. I'm out of here. No, I will never do that again. And I've never done that again. But that was a lesson learned. Which goes to, oh shoot, I had something I wanted to talk about in regards to that. Came up in my mind. I want to say definitely internal condoms. So yes, talk about condom wearing. Mentioned STIs, but I didn't mention about the value, importance of knowing how to have sex in a condom. If you've been with a partner for a really long time and you're out there new in the world and ready to like seize the day and find sexual partners, and you haven't had a condom on your cock or in your pussy or however you have sex, however, whatever it is, in 20 years, you want to explore that. Kind of important that you give an idea of what it's like to have sex with a condom again after such a long time without one. Now, one of the ways to do that is to masturbate with a condom. That can be really helpful to getting back in the swing of things and coming inside a condom and getting really used to that. Now, here's a pro tip. I don't have any condoms with me. A pro tip is when you take out the condom out of the package, you want to put a little bit of lube, just a drops of lube somewhere, roll down a little bit, and then slip the condom, so there's a little bit of lube on the inside of the condom, flip it on, and it should move, right? If you feel the kind of dryness, then that's not going to feel good. It's going to get sticky, and there's actually more of a chance of the condom breaking. So just put a little bit of lube on the inside of the condom, roll it down, and of course, if your partner needs also lube, then of course lube the outside. That also is supportive of them. And there you go. You'll have a condom that will hopefully feel like you're not wearing one. And so just masturbating with that can also make it a lot easier. And never putting a person in the position of having to decide if you're going to be condom or no condom. It should be no question. Like, not even the question. That is not a question to ask. I had someone ask me 2 months ago, like, so casual partner, so are we going to be fluid bonded or you're going to pull out a condom? And I'm like, that was kind of annoying. that was even a question, because I don't know this person very well. I'm going to put my person. There you go. I don't want to say their name. I don't know if they want their name in the video. You're muted. All right. What else do I talk about? Oh wait, is our list? Let me go back to my list and make sure that I've touched on. So why would anyone want to do this? I mentioned the pleasure. I mentioned health. I mentioned personal growth. I mentioned learning good communication skills. Pleasure. Go back to pleasure. This is part of our human makeup. I think it's good. This is definitely a way to connect with somebody else. Ooh, I have another question. Yay, thank you for the questions. It helps. All right. I've been asked, do you fake orgasm? Is it ever okay to fake it, especially when you're not in the moment but afraid to hurt his or her feelings? Love this question. Now, because I don't fake. I do not fake. Now, again, I think I'm an outlier. Why would, again, I'll make this gendered and then I'll hopefully ungender it in a second. Why would a woman fake an orgasm? And I've actually heard men faking orgasms too. It has the same psychology around it. Because they want out. They want it to be done. And they can't speak up and say to somebody, I don't want this anymore. That's it. There isn't really much more to it, and it's just an easy way for it to be over, which is super sad. Again, I go back to this, like, my gosh. Now, for women, men are our number one killers, right? So if a woman's like, yeah, I'm kind of done, don't want this anymore, thank you, it may not go well for her, and that's going to be really scary, right? Because, and then I guess, what is it, North Carolina, one of these states now that a woman actually can't take back consent during the sexual act, which I'm so lost on how that's even a thing. So I guess it's quick. Right, cool. I think it's really important that that we I lost my train of thought because I just got the comment. You don't take me the type to fake it. No, because what I end up doing is I'm like, dude, okay, so it's not working. Like, cool. Like, I'm not really feeling it anymore. Or I'm like, let's try something else. Like, let's just masturbate. I definitely can get off that way. And I don't always get called back because their cock didn't do it for me. So I don't know. But again, if a woman feels scared, if she feels like if she says no, or she says she wants to stop, or she's done, or, like, this is a man who could potentially harm her. And of course, a man who might feel like he's like, hey, I'm kind of done. Hey, did you come? Kind of a thing, because we're waiting for somebody to come for it to feel like it's over. And so then the man, I know someone who has delayed ejaculation, and it takes a really long time, and he chooses not to orgasm, and of course he can fake it. I don't know if he ever has, but it's also can be like humiliating, like, yeah, so, and also having to explain to someone, your cock or your pussy didn't do it. Again, we have a lot of ego around our genitals, unfortunately, but yeah. So I guess that goes back to my original thing when I was talking about, I remember now, something else. So this safer sex elevator speech goes, STIs you've been tested. When was your test? What have you done since? Relationship agreements. What are your boundaries? Like, what are you like, absolutely not? What do you want? What was the next one that I mentioned? Are you going to orgasm or not? So it goes back to this fake orgasm thing. Is orgasm important to you? And it may not be. How about having a sexual encounter where you just play around with each other and there is no orgasm? Like the whole goal is to not orgasm. That would be phenomenal. I think that would sound like let's just, I love timing things. I absolutely love, like, let's just do something for 30 minutes and be done, and then check in with each other and see how it goes. Like, see how it went. Like, talk about it. Like, how was that for you? Like, that would be so much fun. I'm all about looking for, like, the way to make this fun. The last thing in the safer sex elevator speech that might be important to talk about is, what does this mean to you? I'll say that again. If you and I have sex, what does it mean? What does it mean for me? And so the Safe for Sex elevator speech, when I'm mentioning all these things, I'm talking about myself. And then I'll answer this last part, and then I'll turn it around and say, what about you? So they don't have to exactly know all the different parts, but now that they've heard me give mine, hopefully they'll be able to hear, be able to give a response. So with that last one, for me to tell somebody what, if you and I have sex, what this means for me is, I'm just looking to feel cock inside me. Or maybe it's because I just really want to explore anal with your size cock. Or it could mean it's because I am lonely tonight. I've been missing sex. I'm missing touching a human being's body. Or it could be that I'd like to, I don't know, I'd like to. So if you look online, you Google, what are all the reasons why people have sex? I think there's 250 approximately reasons that people do. And getting clear on why are you having sex? This is actually one of my meetups that I did. I had so much fun doing that one because people have sex for 1,000,001 reasons, and this says 250, right? But for many reasons, and having that clarity. So maybe somebody else is well, I'm with you because because I'm looking for a long-term relationship. I mean, if you actually got someone to get that honest with you, that's pretty phenomenal. In a casual sex setting, it's probably not going to happen. Well, they may not feel as open to say that. Or maybe they're just exploring and trying new things out and not sure. Not sure. What they like in sex. I'd like to explore and experiment with you. I think that's really important. In certain communities that I'm a part of, this question is important because people have sex to have an emotional connection, and they're looking for something the next day. So that would be the last part in the Safer Sex elevator speech is, okay, after we have sex and we do this, tomorrow, are you expecting a phone call for me to check in, or can we pretty much just end the night and move on? Again, this is a huge, super mature adult conversation to have with someone. I'm not expecting any of all of you to do it. It's pretty awesome and pretty deep and pretty honest and mature. I would hope that you would at some level, but with a lot of people, after sex happens, there's a sense of wait, so am I supposed to call you tomorrow or this week at some point? And if I don't, am I an asshole? I will be quite honest with you that after sex or something with somebody, the next day I don't do shit. And honestly, they don't do to me either. So I'm all all right, good. I hope they're not. Again, it usually falls on the guy, I guess. I don't know. But I'm cool. So I just let people know, you definitely don't need to, just kind of, I don't know, take care of me afterwards. You don't need to check in. I'm good. If I need any kind of care, I have my friends. I have other people. That's not somebody I just had casual sex with. It's not an appropriate person to do that with. Those of you who have not yet, welcome. If you have any questions, I know you just kind of jumped in, and it's okay to ask something since you may have an angle that I didn't touch on. This recording will be available on YouTube and then posted in different places where our group meets or has any kind of connection online. So I don't know what to say. Let me check my list of things. Oh, so I'm talking about gender. I've been kind of talking some really binary stuff like heterosexual, and I definitely want to try to steer away at some time with that. So just because you see somebody and you see that they may look female or may look male or however you project those genders on people's bodies, just need you to know that that may not be true. So you don't know what their genitals look like, and you don't know what their pronouns are. And I like to host play parties, and I purposely like to invite people that are non-binary and people that it creates an awesome conversation for the whole group when we have to treat each and all of us, since we don't see each other's genitals, treat each other with a lot of respect and being so one of the questions that we often ask is, are your genitals on or off? Like, are you playing with genitals or are you not playing with genitals? And it is still sex, even if genitals aren't to be used or they're not direct. Like, you don't have to be completely naked to have sex with somebody. Sex can mean a lot of different things for different populations, people that have disabilities, some of our military that don't have genitals anymore because of war, or sometimes the use of our genitals is not there, or people have learned to map their orgasms to different parts of their bodies, not the genitals, and however it looks. And of course, just knowing that every person is really different. And so asking questions around like, what feels good to you sexually? What do you like? Again, going back to the Zero Sex speech, talking about yourself first and then inviting them to share what they want, what they're comfortable sharing. Just as, not making the assumption that genitals are, if you see someone who looks like a woman, doesn't mean that they have a vulva and a vagina. It could very well be that they actually have a cock. And how cool would that be? I think it's cool. It's fantastic. Or somebody who's, you look at them, you're not sure if they're, how they identify, if they're a woman or a man, and they may not identify with either. They could totally be non-binary and like definitely don't know what genitals they have. And you may still feel an attraction. It may be an energetic attraction. It may not be physical. You don't even know what you're feeling, but you're like, hey, I just find you totally attractive. We didn't talk about how to approach somebody for casual sex, I realize. I'll make it super simple right now. So it can be as simple as like, I find you hella attractive, or for those under 30, I find you attractive, and I'd like to get to know you better. Would you like to have some, would you like to go out for coffee, or, I don't know, would you like to have, can I have your number to text you? I don't like texting, so for me, that would be a no-no. I would be like, don't text me, don't call me. But coffee I do. Coffee I would do way over a phone number. I don't want your phone number. Then of course, if we're gonna have coffee, I need your number, of course, to plan all that. But that's the other thing. I guess something I can say is not everybody wants to text, and some people all they want to do is text before they get to know you. I don't have a lot of time in my life, and texting somebody that I don't know if I'm going to be attracted to is a waste of my time. So if I can have a 30-minute coffee, and again, time, we value time so much because it's so limited, and we waste a ton of it too. So saying, hey, would you like to go on a coffee date for 30 minutes? It's like timing. And literally, if you do anything with time, you have to time it. Time it. So then, okay, someone just asked me if chemistry feels good, how do you like to be asked about for casual sex? So chemistry is good. That it's like, so like I get them, I hear that you're attracted, I'm like, you're really attracted too, I think you're really good looking. And we have time, right? Because the other thing is like, if I have an appointment, it's like, okay, so can I see you again? And would you be interested in would you be interested in, I'm trying to think how I would like this. I'm so direct. That's why I'm like, okay, I speak for myself. Would you be interested in playing around sexually? Like, I can see that working well with me, but I'm like, that's not everybody. Would you be interested in coming back to my place? That's the typical, like, everybody, that's like code, right? But like, everyone knows what that means. Or, could be, like making out, right? That's kind of like the lead in. Would you be interested in coming back to my place and making out? People use like Netflix and chill, those kinds of entry way, because we're too scared just to say, can we fuck? Which honestly, like, there's a part of me that someone says like, I'd love to fuck you. That feels good. And I think both sexes can want this, or say genders. I think all genders. I think lots of people in general can't admit that what they would really like is someone just to tell them, I desire you, I would love to fuck you. If I heard that, I'd be like, what? What? Say that again? Like, say that again? Yeah, like, that's hot. But I also then know that they're probably gonna be really good at being very verbal in sex, and that's one of my turn-ons is people that can be really verbal while they're doing sexual things, talking. Like I love people just say the things that they're feeling, what they're experiencing in their bodies. It's turn on. So that's not everybody's turn on. Some people need to have. So the question. So I have a comment here. So chemistry without even trying to date is what you're talking about. Just sex, right? Sorry, that was my cat. Right. So when you meet somebody, maybe you go on like it could be a one-time date, and you both realize that like what you might want to do with each other is just have sex and be sex buddies, sex friends with benefits. Just have sex and not really have anything more. Not really the expectation of going up the relationship escalator, as it's called. You can Google that, where it's like, okay, we date, we become boyfriend girlfriend, we go up this, we move in together, we get engaged, we get married. Like there's an escalator that our society kind of expects us, if we are healthy and mature and normal, we go up this escalator, and there are plenty of people that don't want that. What they prefer is to have whatever, anything else. Fuck the escalator. Like, I'm just gonna have sex with a bunch of people and enjoy people's company and meet cool people. Yay. And sex is one way to meet really cool people. Why not? So right, that's what I'm talking about. That's so it is 10 o'clock, y'all. We just got somebody new that just jumped in, and that's almost 10, but like within seconds. And I'm ending our hour. This course video. Oh, seriously? Okay, so hold up. The person that just joined is somebody that I've had casual sex with. Oh wait, he left. Okay, maybe he's trying to adjust his I was gonna have I asked him if he wanted to come on and do a private interview. Not private, but this is definitely not private. I don't know if y'all got to see his face. Hopefully not, because I think he wanted to protect his image. I'll have to check that in the recording and make sure he's not in there. He didn't want to. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so if he would have stayed on, I would have asked him questions about his experience. Oh, he just sent me a text message that he doesn't. I'll tell him you were on. I don't know if y'all want to wait to see what he has to say. Maybe. If y'all just leave me right now, then I know that you don't. I don't know. We'll see. I don't mind letting this go a little bit longer if he can come back. Since he's had. Thanks, Byron. Byron says he can wait. Okay. Actually, what I can do is just call him. Okay.
Hey, my face was visible. That was the thing, wasn't it?
It was visible, but it's okay. I don't know if it got in the recording or not. But it was such a quick, and I can potentially blur it on YouTube, so I'll double check. But I have you on speakerphone, and I'm still recording. Can you all? Okay, let's see if anybody here. Can you all hear his voice? Talk for a little bit. Oops. I don't want to
well, hi there.
I think they can be heard. So as long as I don't have your name, visible on my screen. So since you haven't been listening to the conversation,
Yellow.
Yeah, can you hear me? One second. Oh, I'm sorry about that. You were muted. Since you haven't been part of the conversation, I'd like to. And you don't know how in depth I went, and I have not talked about you in any way, but I would love for our audience here to hear what your ideas around casual sex. What has it been like for you to engage with people that you just hooked up with?
What ages?
My audience?
Oh, no. What was the question again?
What's it been like for you to have random hookups with people?
Wow. Well, it's, everyone's a different adventure. As long as there's respect and understanding and a limit, or, something new to be discovered, that's always going to be a great experience. Let's see, my thing is, well, I am he who shall not be named for the purpose of this call, but let's just say I'm 24, and, women my age they're fun, but I do kind of lean more towards the late 30, early 40 something, and that's where most of the casual fun has been. And it's a really good trade-off. Really good trade-off of power, dynamic. The connection is really something specific. It's just different. Different than someone my age. And I think that younger men and more women of a certain age have a lot of fun. So it's I guess the casual fun to me has been a lot of learning because you learn a lot, and I'm pretty sure it's maybe a better lover because of it. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I have somebody else who's 25 who's on here who privately sent me a message saying they totally agree with you. You're not alone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that maybe it just takes a little bit more confidence. I don't know. It does take a big leap of faith, especially when you want to, take them out and meet in public. It's, obviously, there's going to be people out there that say, and then you make sure you're not an axe murderer. So they're going to want to meet you at a bar, and older women love wine. Wine it'll do the trick. And also leads to a really good conversation, which kind of makes the casual fun better. But if it's just casual fun, then it's just casual fun. But, it's always nice when you have a good conversation beforehand, get to know the person. Really good exchange of feelings and stuff. And also the foreplay with older women it's something different. It's pretty cool because they're very experienced and very understanding, but kind of equally match the appetite of some of them in their 20s. And then maybe casual fun with women my age. It's happened once or twice here and there in the past couple of years, but was in a relationship for a very long time, and afterwards there was someone who was my age, and it was great. It had to be because it couldn't be anything more because we worked for the same company, and at different locations, so sort of kind of wrapped. But I kind of made it more adventurous and then more exhilarating. But if there's one thing I can say that I've taken away from hookups or just the string attached fun is just confidence. And, always want to be safe. That's the most important thing because there's having fun and then there's just being stupid. It's not worth your health. So, you want to have a good sense of communication with your partner about that. But just confidence, kind of confidence from the women, and
Oh, that's amazing. That's dead on. I would like to just, as a legal FYI, it becomes rape if you have sex with somebody who's drunk. So even if they're getting really close, discouraging, more than a couple of drinks, like that should stop. So just being really conscientious around any partner of yours that would be drunk. That sex then it's not safe for anybody. We have a comment here, and I don't know if it's who's it for, but I'm going to read it out loud, and maybe it's for you, my friend. They write, I get that. Sure, it's fun for a while, but what about as you age? What are you going to do then? Keep hooking up? We may run out of options, end up alone, right? How sad, or how does it end? I look at those things, you know what I mean? So what do you think about that?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a very true thing. I'm 24. I consider myself a late bloomer. I still do have the rest of my life ahead of me, and I'm aggressively pursuing my goals. But one of my goals is to find romance, a serious romance, a fruitful, loving romance. And can I push through the boundaries and the stigma, kind of the taboo of having a significantly older partner? Well, I'd say at the end of my 20s, if I'm getting in my 30s age, it's not even going to matter. And then, that would complicate things with kids, possibly. But I think at the end of my 30s, I'm just going to probably want to find someone who loves me, and a woman I can just cherish and this. Now in my mid-40s, don't get me wrong, I did actually spend a lot of the time with this past ex of mine who was 21. So, yeah, she was 21. And people said, hey, you guys are a little bit younger. I did. And I'm just a girl who's 24. She would get around my age. So I realized that as time goes on, I'm always going to want to feel to be with someone my age. It's natural. It's just natural. But like I said, I don't think I really care once I'm in my 30s and if I'm single. And that is sad. You did mention how sad that would be terrible. But if I meet the person, whoever she is, I would definitely stop and take a moment to smell the flowers and cherish that.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because I'm curious. At some point, do you think that you would just be honest with your partner? I mean, do you foresee monogamy as being part of your future, or would you be looking for a non-monogamous committed relationship?
I would. Oh man, that is so far out. I've actually, to be honest, never contemplated that. There has been times when it was on and off, but I did keep it monogamous.
Like if you didn't have to.
If I didn't have to, okay, yes. If it was something that the other partner set up, I would have to do a trial run because I am a giver. I want to make someone my queen, and I want them to love me in return as well. And I want to be old-fashioned, and I want to cherish her. And I think my heart might be a little tormented if there was another.
It's hard. Yeah. It is hard. Okay, so last question. It's a little more vulnerable, and then I'm gonna end the whole video. Super vulnerable, and of course you're gonna be gracious because it's who you are. But what was casual sex like with me?
Oh my word. Well.
Do you remember?
When someone has, you have quite the energy and charisma with you, Jen. Wow, you are, something powerful. It was fun, and it was very non-judgmental. There was things that were done that were a lot of firsts. There was a lot of firsts. When I was saying, sex with a woman of a certain age, in her late 30s, early 40s, it's learned a lot. Learned a lot, and it's really empowering. And then also just a lot of knowledge, empowering, and then a lot of new discovery. It was great. It was beautiful.
Thank you. We had a last comment here. There's been a slight conversation that's happened in the chat. With this whole question about, as you get older kind of thing kind of went down. And people just think you keep hooking up until you die.
Hopefully not, but I did. Okay, so let's just talk about my love life really quick. When I was 18, had my high school sweetheart. That was it. Then, second person I was with happened to be 42. So, big age gap there. And I think that's what swayed me. I gotta be completely honest. So then after that, there was quite a few mature women in my life. And then, honestly, is it proportional? No, it's a little bit disproportional. There is more of an appetite sexually for an older woman. But
Okay, so, you know what? Let me just pause right there because here I'm getting some ideas. So right now, a lot of young people want older people. Like even young women are looking at older men, and young men are looking at older women. I think that's like a thing across the board.
no, it's very a thing.
And I think as men get older, there's a tipping point when they get like kind of too old. But they just need to learn how to be better communicators, because you can be 70 and if you're a smooth ass communicator, you're gonna get a 25-year-old. It's really about how you carry yourself and the confidence and this. And then of course there are women that I don't know. Like then there's just individual women out there that don't want sex after 45, and that's fine. They can do that. And there's probably men out there whose cock stopped working at 45. And they need to go see, get support. Both of them, everybody. If you still want to have sex and it doesn't work for you, then go to a sex therapist, go to a surrogate partner, get your support. But I think that there's a lot of people fucking way different generations.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of it's more accepted. I will say there might be a stigma more on a younger man, older woman, and then I feel like it's subtly celebrated when it's a younger man, older woman, but it's very in the norm for a young woman and an older man. Be cool if it was kind of equal, but I guess that's just the way it works. It's just interesting how that dynamic works out.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I'm cutting us all off. I've gone over the 15 minutes, and we have a couple people still listening in, which is sweet, and they love the conversation. So we'll figure out what I'm doing next month. I don't have any clue what the topic is. But thank you, caller, for your input. And
Megatron, yes. My name is Megatron.
Megatron. Thank you, Megatron. I saw that you were Stephen Hawking for a second there.
I was. Oh, wow.
All right. So till next time, and love y'all out there on YouTube and everywhere else where San Antonio Embracing Sexuality is. You can find us on Meetup and find our events there. And we'll hopefully be putting more events up soon. All right, take care. Bye. Bye, everybody.